Bill Maher just went scorched earth on the Democrats, and the backlash came quicker than a vegan at a Texas barbecue. You could almost hear liberal Twitter clutching their soy lattes in shock as he roasted his own side like it was open mic night at a flamethrower factory. The takedown was so brutal, I half expected Maher to be hiding a mega hat under that trademark smirk. At this point, he's done with double standards, allergic to delusion, and practically sliding 1 foot across the aisle. If you're here for raw political truth bombs with zero sugarcoating, hit that subscribe button, because this ride is only just getting started.
Exposed power lines keep causing fires and keep not getting buried underground because it's expensive. I've heard people say, do you want to pay more taxes to fund this? No. I want you to use the exorbitant taxes you already collect to prioritize it. California is the place that spends money and gets nothing, which is why you may have noticed when the fires broke out, no one escaped by high-speed rail. Am I against a lesbian being chief? Of course not. Do I think a lesbian can do the job? Of course I do. And maybe she's the best person for the job. Or maybe they really wanted a lesbian in that job, and she's just the best lesbian for the job, and with essential services, that's not good enough.
California has some of the highest taxes in the entire country, like, nosebleed high. So you'd think all that money would at least buy some basic competence, right? Wrong. Somehow the Golden State keeps raking in billions while running things like a dysfunctional dumpster fire. And Bill Maher? He's officially done playing nice. You could see it on his face, like he's 5 seconds away from flipping the table, as he goes straight for Gavin Newsom's jugular. Maher unloads on his former golden boy, ripping into him over wildfire disasters, crumbling infrastructure, and more bureaucratic flops than a trampoline in a bowling alley. It's the kind of roast that makes you stop and wonder, how epic does the failure have to be before even the most loyal Democrats start sounding like they're auditioning for Fox News?
Axios ran a story on how getting the water out of the hydrants in Pacific Palisades was more complicated than it seems. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's very complicated. That's why I pay 13% of my income in this state every year to people who I assumed will...
Am I surprised that Gavin Newsom and the Democrats got caught flat-footed again when fires tore through the Pacific Palisades? Not at all. This is their signature dance move: big talk, flashy gestures, and zero follow-through. The Democrats have turned performance politics into an art form. Think Broadway, but with more wildfires and fewer solutions. They'd rather host a glitzy climate gala and snap selfies with Leonardo DiCaprio than actually clear brush or modernize fire prevention systems. It's political theater at its peak, standing ovations while the state literally burns. If you're expecting timely, practical action from a Democratic government, good luck. What you'll get instead is a trendy hashtag, a podium speech, and probably a shiny new tack.
When asked why so many of the hydrants in the Palisades ran out of water, Governor Newsom said the local folks are trying to figure that out. Yeah, you got to do that.
An empty reservoir in wildfire-prone California isn't just a little whoopsie, it's a full-blown government faceplant, starring the governor and the mayor in matching dunce caps. In a state that catches fire every summer like it's a tradition, how on earth is there no emergency water ready to go? This isn't the Oregon Trail. We've got satellites, smartphones, and AI writing our emails, but apparently no one in charge thought, hey, maybe we should save some water. It's not just a failure, it's a flaming badge of shame. With billions skimmed off taxpayers like an annual fundraiser for government waste, there's zero excuse. Our bucket-wielding, mule-driving ancestors would have handled this with no budget and a lot more common sense. But instead, we've got leaders more interested in striking a pose for Vogue than preparing for fire season that so when the next inferno rolls in, and it will, don't blame climate change. Blame the clowns who drained the reservoirs while they were rehearsing for their next press conference.
At least in the Palisades, the hydrants were still there. 300 other ones around the city are just gone, stolen for parts. One of the 3 reservoirs for the Palisades was offline at the one time of year when it was most needed. LA's Mayor Karen Bass, the Nero of American politics, was fiddling in Ghana while the city burned and later placed the blame on 8 months of negligible rain and winds that have not been seen in LA in at least 14 years. Yeah, that's not that long a time. Maybe look in the history books to see how our ancestors handled it back in 2 and...
I remember Gavin Newsom smugly flexing on camera about his shiny new fire trucks and high-tech helicopters that could supposedly sniff out wildfires like bloodhounds with propellers. It sounded like the trailer for Top Gun, Fire Season, until reality came crashing in. Turns out it was just another PR stunt, more flash than follow-through. Meanwhile, nearly 100 fire trucks are sitting dead in garages like museum pieces while the state goes full barbecue mode. And what's Karen Bass doing? casually claiming that slashing the fire department's budget didn't make a dent. Right. And I guess cutting the brakes makes your car more aerodynamic. This is exactly why Bill Maher, and about half the voter base, are fed up with the Democrats. It's not just the Olympic-level incompetence. It's the lying, the spinning, the gaslighting, like it's a professional art form. They promise you the moon, hand you ashes, and still expect a standing ovation.
The mayor said about cuts to the fire department's budget, there were no reductions that were made that would have impacted the situation. The fire chief here had a slightly different take. She said, "We are screaming to be properly funded. And yes, the budget was cut, and it did impact our ability to provide service. And by the looks of all the fire engines in the boneyard out of service because we didn't fix them, she's right."
California has some of the highest taxes in the nation, yet somehow the state is collapsing like a Jenga tower in an earthquake drill. Meanwhile, over in Texas, the land of zero income tax and brisket-fueled optimism, they're rolling out new businesses, building real infrastructure, and running emergency services like they actually read the manual. California, on the other hand, is drowning in tax dollars while fumbling the basics. Homelessness is skyrocketing, public services are breaking down, and wildfires keep turning neighborhoods into toast. No wonder Californians are fleeing faster than avocados on sale. Taxes are squeezing the life out of families, and the cost of living feels like medieval torture. Yet Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass keep serving up promises with all the nutritional value of cotton candy. Worst part? They don't even pretend to care. While families U-haul their dreams to better run states, Newsom and Bass double down on dysfunction, pointing fingers everywhere but the mirror. The system isn't broken, it's being driven off a cliff by leaders who think GPS stands for gaslight, pontificate, spin.
Exposed power lines keep causing fires and keep not getting buried underground because it's expensive. I've heard people say, "Do you want to pay more taxes to fund this?" No. I want you to use the exorbitant taxes you already collect to prioritize it.
Only Democrats could reach a level of delusion where they risk human lives in the name of saving the environment, only to end up hurting the environment even more. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline because it feels more sustainable. Years of real progress go up in smoke because they care more about looking green than actually being green. And to Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, wielding their woke wisdom like a blunt spoon. These two geniuses decided not to upgrade California's ancient, spark-spitting power lines. Why? To protect a plant. Not a forest. Not an endangered species. A weed. The legendary milk vetch. That's right, they gambled with wildfire roulette to save what looks like a garnish on a sad salad. The result? Boom. Thousands of acres scorched, animals dead, families displaced, and enough carbon released to make a diesel truck blush. Their logic isn't just flawed, it's flammable. When ideology body-slams common sense, everybody loses. The people suffer, the environment chokes, and the hypocrisy burns brighter than the wildfires they could have prevented with one smart decision and a little less #activism.
The power lines that cut through Topanga weren't upgraded because it endangered an herb, the milk vetch, which sounds like something they serve at Passover. I mean, talk about not seeing the forest for the trees. You know what the absolute worst thing for the environment is? Wildfires. A 22 study found that the smoke from just the two in 2020 wiped out 18 years of carbon reduction in the state, which means we suffered the pain of driving those early model Priuses for...
Ah yes, the legendary high-speed rail, Gavin Newsom's favorite bedtime story. He gushes about it like it's California's sleek futuristic chariot to glory. But let's be real. After more than a decade of wheel spinning and wallet draining, this isn't a train, it's a high-speed money incinerator. Billions have gone down the rabbit hole, and what do we have to show for it? A couple stretches of track, endless press conferences, and enough broken promises to fill a station. The budget's a joke, the timeline's a comedy special, and the progress? You'd need a microscope and a prayer to even spot it that, and no wonder people are demanding an audit. When the cash burns faster than the trains move, which, to be clear, is still 0 miles per hour, you don't need Sherlock Holmes to smell something shady. Still, Newsom parades this boondoggle around like it's a Nobel Prize on wheels, when in reality, it's just another overpriced illusion in California's never-ending magic show of dysfunction.
California is the place that spends money and gets nothing, which is why you may have noticed when the fires broke out, no one escaped by high-speed rail.
This is exactly why folks like Jon Voight, Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro, and Mel Gibson would rather see Gavin Newsom launched into deep space than anywhere near California, or a ballot. The man took the Golden State and turned it into a golden dumpster fire. And now, believe it or not, he's eyeing the White House in 2028 like it's his next fixer-upper, but Americans aren't buying it. They've seen the wreckage he left behind, and they know he'd run the country with the same finesse he ran California, which is basically like a blindfolded toddler on roller skates. One of his greatest achievements? Diverting over 80% of California's water supply to grow almonds. Not drinking water, not fire prevention, almonds. The thirstiest crop this side of a cactus convention. Meanwhile, the state dries up, burns down, and begs for relief. It's environmental lunacy wrapped in a strategy burrito. And if that's Newsom's idea of leadership, then buckle up, America, because the next train wreck isn't just coming. It's headed straight for Washington, D.C.
We have the highest marginal tax rate in America, higher than almost all other states, and soon Greenland. What is included for that? Breadsticks? Because it clearly doesn't cover fire. That's government's job. Protect us from crime, violence, theft, fire. I'm not saying Alabama would have done better with fires by fighting them with prayer in school. But look me in the eye and tell me anyone could have done worse. We just got our ass kicked by fire, something Neanderthals fought to a tie.
Bill Maher didn't just hold back, he went full political arsonist and torched the Democratic Party like it was a bonfire of bad ideas. His target? Identity politics gone wild. According to Maher, Democrats have officially decided that your skin color, gender, or sexual orientation matters way more than your ability to actually do the job. Exhibit A, Kamala Harris. She wasn't picked because she was the most qualified, she was picked to win the gold medal in the Diversity Olympics. Let's be real, she checked boxes faster than a DMV clerk on double espresso. The result? An administration so dysfunctional it makes a group project look organized. We've got indecision, incoherence, and productivity levels so low they might as well be underground. Biden's presidency isn't leading, it's curating a progressive museum of firsts, complete with plaques that read, symbolic but useless. And while the country is begging for real results, Mayor's frustration might be the only thing that actually makes sense. Because symbolism doesn't put gas in your car, lower inflation, or stop a wildfire. His takedown was savage, but necessary. From identity politics, to eco-hypocrisy, to straight-up failure, Maher ripped the mask off the glittery mess hiding behind the party's Instagram filter. Californians are fed up. Americans are waking up. And the cracks in the Democratic dam are gushing like a busted fire hydrant. That if this is the future of leadership, grab a helmet, because we're all going to need it. And that wraps up today's video. If you got a laugh, a gasp, or even a rage-induced headshake, hit that like button and smash subscribe for more glorious chaos. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.